You know, in a world that is just overflowing with relationship advice, what really makes love last? It's a huge question, right? And it feels more urgent than ever. We're always being told how to find love, how to keep it, but what does the science actually say? So, let's dig into the data, let's debunk some common myths, and really try to uncover the surprising, science-backed secrets to a lifelong partnership. I mean, it all starts with a feeling, doesn't it? This comment from a Reddit user, wow, it just captures that deep human desire for a partner who is just there. You know, someone who sees all of you, the good, the bad, all of it, and still chooses to stay. It's this beautiful ideal of unconditional love that so many of us are searching for. But how does that romantic dream hold up against, well, reality?
Well, reality can be pretty tough. This number, 58.7%, that's the divorce rate in Portugal. It's the second highest in all of Europe. And it's just this powerful reminder that even with our best intentions and our deepest desire for connection, making a relationship last it's incredibly challenging. So what's going wrong? Or, maybe a better question is, what are we getting wrong about how love even works in the first place?
To start, let's tackle one of the most common assumptions out there about love, and it usually comes down to gender stereotypes. We have these ideas just baked into our culture about who's more romantic, who feels things more deeply, and who's really driving the relationship. I mean, think about it. Pop culture is full of this, right? From rom-coms to magazine articles, we often see women portrayed as being kind of obsessed with love, while men are seen as more detached, maybe even a little commitment-phobic. But is that actually true? Well, the research tells a very different story. So get this, because this is where the conventional wisdom gets completely flipped on its head. According to a whole bunch of studies, it's actually men who tend to fall in love faster, in about 4 weeks compared to nearly 8 for women. Men are also more likely to believe in love at first sight, and they report falling in love more frequently over their lifetimes. Women, on the other hand, tend to experience the emotion of love more intensely once they do commit. And look, this time difference is pretty significant. Research from the Australian National University found that, on average, it takes men just under 1 month to fall in love, while for women, it's almost 2. That is nearly twice as long. So yeah, that whole idea of men being the emotionally reserved ones, it doesn't really hold up when you look at the data. So why? What's going on here? Well, psychologists think it has a lot to do with our social structures. Often, guys are socialized not to be vulnerable or to lean on their friends for deep emotional stuff. So what happens? They end up relying much more heavily on their romantic partner for that crucial emotional support and intimacy. And that dependency can actually make them more eager to lock down a relationship and invest emotionally, and faster. All right, so let's move on to the next major myth. This is a big one. We often think that a happy, healthy relationship is one where you just never fight. You know, a smooth sea, no waves, everything's perfect. But decades of research shows that this idea isn't just wrong, it's actually destructive. So here's the absolute key. Every single couple has conflict. It's just unavoidable. But the thing that separates the couples who thrive from those who fall apart is how they handle it. The pioneering psychologist John Gottman, who, by the way, can predict divorce with over 90% accuracy just by watching a couple argue, he found that the way partners navigate their disagreements is the single most powerful predictor of their long-term success. Let's break that down a little. Constructive conflict, yeah, it might involve disagreement, even anger or frustration. But the key is that you're engaging with the problem. In fact, Gottman's research found that this kind of engaged conflict actually predicted an improvement in satisfaction over time. Now, on the flip side, you've got destructive conflict. This is where you see stuff like defensiveness, stubbornness. These behaviors don't solve problems, they just wear away at the trust and foundation of the relationship.
Now, this might sound completely backwards, but it really drives the point home. A relationship without any arguments isn't necessarily a strong one. It might just be a relationship where issues are being ignored, just festering under the surface. Arguing, when it's done the right way, means you are both engaged enough to fight for the relationship. You're trying to work through it all together.
Okay, so if navigating conflict is so important, what does that actually look like day to day? Well, it seems to come down to mastering this fundamental paradox, this really delicate balance that successful couples figure out over a lifetime. On one side of the scale, you have intimacy. This is the stuff we all think of when we imagine a strong relationship. And it's built through all these small, consistent, shared things. Eating meals together, creating your own little inside jokes and traditions, finding hobbies you both enjoy, just making time to actually connect.
These are the threads that weave your two lives together into a we.
But, and this is a huge but, here's the other side of the scale, and it is just as crucial. Therapist Michael Gorian calls it intimate separateness. And the whole idea is that for a relationship to truly thrive, you also need to thrive as individuals. You need your own space, your own interests, and a strong sense of who you are outside of the relationship.
This quote just gets right to the heart of it. Intimacy creates the bond, the we, but separateness protects the I and the you. Gurian argues that when partners get too tangled up in each other, when they start losing their individual identities, the relationship actually starts to suffocate. It's the balance between these two forces that pull toward each other and the freedom to stand on your own 2 feet that creates a love that can actually last.
Okay, so we've busted some myths, we've explored this core principle of balance. Now let's get really practical. A big study on marital satisfaction in Portugal dove deep into the specific factors that predict a happy, lasting partnership, and the findings are fascinating. And this number is just so powerful. Researchers were able to nail down a set of key factors that when you put them all together can predict with 85% accuracy how happy and satisfied a couple is going to be in their marriage. That's huge!
So what are these magic ingredients? Well, the number one predictor was something they called intrinsic motivation. All that means is that you're in the relationship for its own sake, for the shared joy, the connection, the partnership itself, not for external reasons like what other people think or just trying to avoid being lonely. Number 2, constructive communication, which, hey, brings us right back to the idea of how you fight. And third, the study identified what we can call life's squeeze. Just recognizing that satisfaction naturally takes a dip during really high-stress times, like raising little kids or teenagers. Knowing that helps couples prepare and lean on those first 2 principles even harder when things get tough.
So when you put it all together, what all this research really points to is a fundamental shift in how we should think about love. It's not some passive feeling that you just fall into, like a lightning strike of fate. It's an active, ongoing process. It's a choice you make every single day, and it's a set of skills like communication, balancing closeness and space, and nurturing why you're together, that you have to practice and build together over time.
So I'll leave you with this final thought to take away. Whether you're in a relationship right now or not, just thinking about this balance is key. What's one small thing you could do today? Maybe it's putting your phones away during dinner to build some intimacy, or maybe it's taking an hour to go do a solo hobby to nurture your own separateness. Because in the end, the science shows us that the strongest love isn't built by losing yourself in someone else, but by building a shared life where 2 whole individual people get to thrive.